Hey, what's going on, everybody? Who be 186 back again with another video. Uh, yeah, man, we gotta talk about this, man. Like you see some GTA 5 video in the background. I would put Madden out there, but I don't think the franchise is real good. And I'm going to explain to you why I dislike EA and why I dislike the NFL all in one. And today's news story is the perfect example of this. Now, it's come to find out that there was a song, it was a verse in a song in the latest Madden game, Madden 19, and the verse contained the name, not a curse word, because those are obviously going to be bleeped out, but the censored word in this particular song was Colin Kaepernick. Now, just to brief anyone who don't know who he is, he's a former San Francisco quarterback who he's kind of like the main guy who's been he was kind of like the ground zero when it comes to the anthem protest. He was really one of the first guy, I believe, was the first guy to kneel for the national anthem during the national anthem in football games and stuff like that. And the dude's been essentially been blackballed from the NFL. You know what I mean? So there's a song by, I believe the rapper's name is Big Sean, that contains his name in the verse, and EA bleeped out his name. Now, I'm trying to figure out why is this a thing? Why did EA do this? And it to me, this is simple. Me personally, now again, EA are scumbags. It's been well documented, especially when it comes to that Madden franchise, and I'll explain later. But to me, I think a lot of this has to do with the NFL themselves, right? To me, the NFL, they're the finesse gods, and they I put that in the title for a reason. Now, the reason why I say this is because, in my opinion, they're the ones who I believe made this a thing with EA. I don't think EA left to their own devices, I don't think would care. They have more important things to do, like scheming people out of selling you the same game for the past, I don't know, 30, 40, I mean, 10 years. You know what I mean? So, yeah, more important thing to do. Now, as far as the whole situation itself, here's the deal, right? The reason why I say it's the NFL thing, because the NFL, they're the ones that have blackballed Colin Kaepernick. They're the ones that have made this NFL protesting a lot worse than it had to be with some of their stupid decision making. And what they successfully have done was pass the buck. And you know, you saw this with the whole situation with the Dolphins, which is the team I cheer for. Um, the Dolphins got a lot of shit uh, a couple weeks ago for releasing this document where it stated that they would put that the punishment which pretty much highlighted their code of conduct basically. And one of the violations of the code of conduct is the national anthem protest. Now, here's the thing that people don't tell you. Here's the thing that a lot of people didn't realize about it is that every team had to submit this, right? Per this is per protocol by for the NFL. So it wasn't like a something where it was only the Dolphins that were doing this. That's how it came off to the media, but that's not what in reality that's not what it was. Unfortunately, the Dolphins are the ones they got a lot of shit for it, and not the NFL, despite the fact that it was the NFL who needed everybody to come out with a code of conduct, and it had to include anything that had to do with the protests. And regardless of how you feel about the protest, regardless of how you feel about the players kneeling and stuff like that, the one thing that the NFL has shown is that they have no fucking clue how to they have no fucking clue how to deal with it. You know what I mean? It's one thing to it's one thing to try to come up with rules. Like the NBA has rules against kneeling before national anthem. They have rules for the anthem. Like you have to stand for the national anthem in the NBA. But the thing is that the NBA are far more progressive in this situation, and unlike the NFL, they will discuss these topics with their players. Now I don't know if they did that with the protests or whatever, but the NBA is shown to be far more progressive in this situation than the Dolphins are. I mean than the NFL is, right? That's just how it is, right? So you have the whole thing with the whole protesting and whatnot, and then you look back at the history of the NFL and EA in this, and I can't help but go back to 2006, right? Now 2K had their NFL game. They had their NFL game, NBA 2K5, and to me NBA 2K5 was, in my opinion, my favorite football game of all time. You know, not just because of the gameplay, which was great, not because of the presentation, which at the time was unrivaled. Um, with the replays, with the live action replays, with the halftime show, the commentary, all that other stuff. To me, I loved with 2K, Visual Concepts, Sega, what they did with that game. They were so confident in how great their game was that they decided to put the game at $20, sell the game at 19.99, $20 for a AAA game. Unheard of for today to launch at $20, right? But they were that confident in their game, and it wasn't like a thing where the Madden game wasn't good either. Like there was at a time where both football games were really really good, right? So what Visual Concepts, Sega, all the 2K, what they did, they decided that they were going to. Was Sega part of it? No, I think it was Take Two. It was Take. I think it was Take Two. I don't know if Sega was a part of it at the time, but regardless, they knew that they needed to compete with Madden. 'Cause Madden, obviously, Madden was the top dog back then. So they needed to do something drastic because they knew they had the gameplay on point. They just needed to get people to buy into their game. So that's why they sold the game for $20. Fucking drivers. But anyways, so they decided to put the game to $20, right? So, come to find out, a couple months later, mysteriously, both EA and the NFL decide, oh well, you know what? We are going to have an exclusive deal. They signed an exclusive deal to be the only NFL game, pretty much the only game that have the NFL license. And that obviously that decision crippled 2K, and I mean they really couldn't do anything else after that. They really couldn't. When no matter how good your gameplay is, sometimes it's hard to compete with a game that has fully licensed for has a full license of a popular sport. You see, Konami deals with that every year with PES when it comes to FIFA, and people will be like, "Well, why are you pointing out? Why are you pointing out the NFL? Because I mean, that was the EA decision." Well, to me, like it takes two to tango when it comes to the negotiations. Like you think that I mean, this is a rumor that was going around back then, so I don't know if it's true or not. But think about this realistically. The NFL, the same company that is so high and mighty on the national anthem and this and that and pride and patriotism, all that other bullshit. They were at one point they charged the army to do all that stuff, all the pregame ceremonies and stuff like that. They charged them to do that. So you're telling me that this same company who will sit there look at one of the games that had their licenses, their players, their likeness, and all the other stuff, right? You're telling me that they were okay with one of their partners selling their game for $20? Come on, man. Come on. I mean, obviously EA is obviously the main culprit and all that, but it's clear as day that that the NFL wasn't okay with this. And unfortunately, the consumers are the one that got fucked over in the end. So when you bring it all back around to what's going on today, there is nothing there's nothing wrong. Like, for fuck's sake, you put music in the game that is littered with cuss words. You know what I mean? They're like, why is this a thing? Why should this be a thing? Why is it a thing? You know what I mean? Why does everything, like, why can't everything just be what it's about? Is just the video games, or in the NFL case, the football? Because at the end of the day, I'll always say this: you can, with the whole protesting and whatnot, at the end of the day, these dudes are their job is to play football. Just like his EA job is to sell video games, right? Their job is to sell Madden. It's not about, putting some fucking, you know not it's not trying to censor names, and the censor names of people that the NFL blackball. That's not their job. Their job is to make video games. So it's clear as day what's going on. And in my opinion, I think the NFL had a lot to do with that, because that's their MO. They're a powerful corporation, and, let's be frank, they're also an evil one too. Like, there's no sugarcoating that. They're an evil scumbag organization. You look at all the stories coming out of, when it comes to, look at the player contracts. Like, if you look through, if you do some research and you figure out what some of these contracts entail some of these players, you would be stunned. Like, apparently there's a player, and I'm just an example. I'm not gonna go into it. I'm almost anyway. But there's a Bears rookie whose contract who the Bear, like, they're in a holdout right now. So they're trying to come to an agreement on a contract, whatever. So he's not playing right now. The reason why he's holding out is because the Bears, they want to take away some of his signing bonus if he gets hit with a personal foul. And to me, that's scumbag moves. That's scumbag move. If you're gonna give a guy a signing bonus, give him his signing bonus. But that's just how the NFL is. That's how the NFL is. They're the finesse gods. They will do everything in their power to take money away from the players. Just like they're gonna do everything in their power to control the narrative in this national anthem protest. That is how it is. In the same way how they pretty much killed 2K. I mean, that's just how it is. And so, I mean, that's pretty much it for the video. I don't really have much else to say. Obviously, when you have two scumbag corporations teaming up together, that's what you get, and they've been a great partner ever since. Anyways, this is Who We 186. I'm out. Peace.